What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tam's Psych Advice. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because my channel is difficult to find, and if you lose it, you may never find it again because Tam's Psych Advice is a weird name. So today we're going to dive deep into competition or competitiveness as it relates to ENFJs, INTJs, ISTJs, and ESFPs. When I think of competition, I think of the SPs. To me, they are your competition people. However, I had somebody in the comments once, I did a video on this, and I said, ENFJs are not competitive. And the person said, well, I'm an ENFJ and I'm competitive. My introverted intuition says that competitive people are jealous people. And you might think those two things don't go together. They have different definitions. But my question is, if you are competitive, does that mean that you're also a jealous person? I think there's some truth to that because what's driving competitiveness? What need is there to beat someone else at something? Do you feel jealous before or after? If they beat you, will you feel jealous if you're super competitive? Or was the fact that you're jealous driving the competition? When you think of competition, you think of football, basketball, baseball, tennis, running track. Those folks are super competitive, and you're going to find a ton of ISTPs, ISFPs in those fields. It's their thing. They are driven by competitiveness. When you put competitiveness on an INFJ, which I've had INFJs to say that they feel very jealous. So if you feel very jealous, does that mean that you compete with people? I would say yes, because you want what's best for, you want the best this or the best car or the best house or the house in the trendiest neighborhood or the neighborhood with the best school. So you might say, well, where does jealousy come into play there? Well, to me, that's competition at its base form. That's a form of competitiveness because I've been with ESFPs when we're playing a game and they're like, I have to win this. I've been in whole buildings full of SPs and they're all running to win a competition. There's a negative side to competitiveness that I want to address. But first, what about INTJs? INTJs can be extremely competitive, and let me tell you why and how. Some of them will say, I am not competitive at all. I don't give two shades about competition. You might find quite a few INTJs who are also competitive. What about ENFJs or ISTJs? ISTJs, maybe not so much. For me, for an ENFJ, it would be being the best at something, wanting to shine, wanting to be liked the most, wanting to have the best product. So if an ENFJ is in charge of something, there might be a little bit of competitiveness that is driving them, a sprinkle of it. But at the forefront is, I want this to be great. I want it to be amazing. I want to be the best of this job that they've ever seen. And I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. That is a form of competitiveness, but it's, hey, I want to be the most popular. I want to be the most well-liked. So I'm going to do things to make people like me, or I'm going to basically do my job and do the best at it. Some ENFJs could fall in a category of lacklusterness, if that's a word, where they're not doing their best because they're not driven by any competitiveness or any drive to outshine or just put forth. They want things to be, when they get in that quote unquote competitive mode, they're stepping up their own game. Like, I have to be better. I have to make this appealing. I have to make whatever project that I'm working on or whatever event I'm doing, I have to make it shine in some kind of way. And sometimes they're not just trying to shine, they're doing the best they can for their own ego. Does ego play a role in competitiveness? I think so. So ego is largely involved, not wanting to fail, not wanting to make a fool of themselves. Pride plays a role in when an ENFJ gets competitive so that things can look good, because they don't want to, they don't want to have to handle negative feedback or criticism because they are sensitive to that. So in order to avoid criticism, they may do their best on something that they're actually not that interested in. But while I'm at it, why don't I make it better than they've ever seen before? Why don't I do something different? Why don't I use my imagination to think big? INTJs, similar. So whereas with the SP types, it's competition for the pure sake of competition. It's like those folks who want a steak with just salt and pepper and let the main ingredient shine. And then you have other people that are like, I want to put some sassafras tea on my steak because I want to put every ingredient in the book on the steak because I think that will taste better. So to me, when you start getting into INTJs, you start getting into the let's put some saffron on it. Let's put smoked paprika and garlic powder and onion salt, and let's sprinkle some thyme and rosemary in there. They want to shine and burst forth by using their intellect, their artistry, their creativity, their system management, their ability to bring a lot of things together to make something outstanding. They like competence, so they want to use their ability and show what all I can do because they have the ability to do so. So they can become competitive when it comes to, I can do better than that. I can make that outfit. I can sew that dress. I can make that mirror and take it to the next level. So the competitiveness can be driven from a place of perfection. Same could be said for an INFJ who can be very perfectionistic, especially when it comes to the self. Does all of this competition come from childhood, how someone was raised, how they were treated at a very young age? Could that drive somebody's competitive nature? Did their parents push them? You've got to be better. You've got to outshine those people. You got to step up your game. So where does a competitive spirit come from? I think it can come from parenting styles. I think it can be a natural part of temperament, like with the SPs. So how do INTJs compete? I think they can become aggressive, assertive. They want to drop the mic, so to speak. So they can go hard. They can want to shut down the competition, which SPs can also want to do. But INTJs want to be on top, not the bottom. And they don't mind moving people out of the way when they get into competition mode. This is an area of deficit that I see in SPs. And you can tell me if you apply this to ENFJs, INTJs, ISTJs. They can start to self-sabotage because you can be I've seen SPs self-sabotage, ISFPs, or what, because that competitive nature comes into play and starts stepping on its own toes. So if you are a boss and you have a work environment and you see somebody who is really good, they're doing great works, they're impacting the climate of your organization, and your SP nature starts honing in and seeing that person as competition, that's where I say jealousy rears its ugly head and can drive a person to become competitive against themselves. If you are with a company, that means you are a team. You are working towards a mutual goal to make the company great. But if you see somebody that you feel is outshining you, is in the limelight, is doing better, you might start trying to take that person down a few pegs. Like, you know what? You're not all that. I can do that. I can be that way too. So instead of being a team player and saying, okay, I will support you in elevating our company, they start doing things to try to sabotage the person personally because I'm feeling some type of way. I want to win, and you're making me feel like I'm not winning because you're outshining me in areas in which you are better than me. And I can't handle that area of competition. You can't be better than me. And so I have to shut the competition down. So that competitive nature can be activated in a way that starts to self-sabotage the person. It starts self-sabotaging relationships, and you're sabotaging your own company. So now instead of working on the climate and getting people involved in ways that promote positivity, you're breaking someone down who's doing what you wish you could be doing, instead of celebrating your differences and allowing that person to make things better in some ways. And I've seen super competitive people do that when they need to get out of their own way. And then they just start messing everything up for the sake of competitiveness. And I want to win, and I want to beat you, and I want to be the best, or you're pretty and I'm not, or not that I'm not pretty, but somebody could be pretty or somebody could be a great dresser. And it's like, well, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to dress better than them. That's where some people's competitive nature comes into play, where it can actually start to do damage. I think if you're competing to make yourself better, to make your organization better, to make your company better, to grow as an individual, I think that's okay. I think competition can be healthy in some ways, but I think you got to watch the competitiveness where you are trampling other people and it is a negative thing, and you are actually diminishing or hurting someone because of your competitive nature. So give me your thoughts about competitive people. Do you think all MBTI types are negative? By the way, I asked an ISTJ and she was like, I'm not competitive at all. That is not my nature, but I do want to work hard and I want to do well. Oops. Sorry, just dropped this. But yeah, so yeah, think about competitiveness and jealousy and all that good stuff. And we definitely, when it comes to romance, which I wrote a book about, I want you guys to check it out, Flip the Script on Love. That is a whole different ball game. That is when competitiveness can really come to the forefront, right? You think somebody's looking at your man, you think somebody's looking at your girl, or you think that somebody else might win your love and become competitive in a way that you look shallow or immature, or you're breaking your said person down for no reason because you feel envious and jealous, or even competing with your love interest instead of working together as a team. So I don't know, check out my book, see what you think. And I love sharing my thoughts with you guys. And it means the world when you like the video, because it makes me say, okay, I want to do more for them, because I want you to understand yourself from different angles. And I want other people who don't know I exist to be able to do the same. So make those algorithms work if you wouldn't mind. And I do appreciate all of you for watching my video today. And I hope I see you on the next one. Bye, my lovelies.